ICE will begin processing migrant families at the southern border in an attempt to alleviate overcrowding at patrol stations. That's according to two Homeland Security officials.
It's an unprecedented move for the agency, which usually deals with detentions and removals of undocumented immigrants. Here's NBC News Justice correspondent Julia Ainsley.
So NBC News learned over the weekend that ICE will now be involved in the processing of some immigrant families. That is because there's been so much overcrowding inside Border Patrol stations as the numbers of immigrants, particularly families, have surged this summer coming across the border. That overcrowding, I've heard, has led to COVID-19 spread, other viruses. There have been lice outbreaks, and the problem has gotten so big that a lot of families end up being released into the United States without being given a court date, something the Biden administration has come under a lot of fire and criticism from, especially from Republicans who say this is part of a policy that's not properly enforcing at the border. But now ICE will be involved, alleviating some of that overcrowding. But it's really interesting. This is an unprecedented move. ICE is in charge of enforcement, removals, detention of immigrants. Now they will be in charge of taking in families, giving them COVID tests, doing wellness screenings, even offering COVID vaccines. And when they do depart ICE detention, they will be given a court date and an ankle monitor until they come to court. That is actually normal practice in terms of how you would normally process an immigrant. It's just usually done by Border Patrol rather than ICE. So this response is unprecedented because this is now a problem that the Biden administration doesn't want to continue to go on. And it really shows that this is different from what the president first said when we started to see a surge in the spring, that it was seasonal and it would go down with the warmer months. He was basically called on that because in June, as summer came, the numbers ended up being higher than we've even seen this year. So we'll have to watch and see what happens. People I've spoken to say that ICE is stepping in to do a job here that needs to be done. But of course, there are a lot of people who are skeptical about ICE doing this job that they haven't done before. Right now, they're going to be using facilities that are typically used for families and young children. But the question will be, what else might they be using? And I'm told every option is on the table. They could be looking at facilities all over the country, some that maybe have not been used to house children before. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Meanwhile, we know that overcrowding has also led to children being sent to emergency intake shelters by Health and Human Services. And we've seen reporting from there just last week from whistleblowers saying that those conditions also need to be changed. So lots to focus on as the border continues to surge, and especially as the Delta variant also complicates matters for the Biden administration in terms of how they combat that surge at the border in a humanitarian way that also takes into account the health of Americans and immigrants as well.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.